Kia ora guys, welcome back to the Black Jersey. My name's Max, I'm the host of this channel. A big thank you to my patrons as per normal. Just a wee reminder to subscribe to me and like this video if you enjoy my content. For today I'm going to be updating my prediction of the Springboks Rugby World Cup squad for this year, 2023. After last year I gave a bit of a premature prediction that did phenomenally well views wise. So we're going to start off as per usual by predicting the hookers, and we can start off with none other than Malcolm Marx, who I started in my World 15 for 2022. The guy's been in absolutely amazing form right now. He's a veteran of 59 tests and a great jackler over the ball, perfect at his core roles, so will absolutely go. That can be the same for Bongi Mbanambi, a real veteran of the game. He's had a much longer international career than I was expecting him to have, and wow, he's been in really good form lately as well. Mbanambi is ideally just going to start and give Marx his part as the perfect backup as it has always been. Mbanambi is a true gem of South African rugby, and going to another World Cup will be the perfect way to finish his career. It's pretty obvious that those two are going to start, but as the third choice I do believe it is going to remain as Joseph Dweba. Dweba hasn't really racked up too many minutes in the Jacques Nienaber era. He's only played 4 tests so far, but as the fourth choice hooker normally plays in loose forwards, I think Dweba's place as the third choice is indeed safe. The guy's a real wrecking ball with ball in hand. He just needs to improve a couple things around the lineout. Once those are sorted, he will be okay. Over to the props, Stephen Kitsoff, pretty obvious. The guy is world class. I keep showering him with praise for very good reasons. He is becoming one of the true legends of Springbok rugby, and I truly believe he will reach 100 tests. Ox in chair, he's been a real highlight of the Nienaber era as well. I'm not just being nice because he follows me on Instagram, as I said for yesterday's video about their depth chart. Nchia is second in the depth chart, and he truly does live up to his nickname. He's been in phenomenal form as of late, so he also has booked himself a place on the plane. The third choice prop though I do think is going to still be Trevor Enyakani. This will be his third World Cup. He was a competitor in 2015 and 2019. Enyakani is currently with Racing 92 and is 33 years old, so he'll likely hang the boots up after this one as well. He's turning 34 shortly after I upload this, so happy birthday in advance. Enyakani can cover both sides of the scrum, but as the World Cup squad sizes are going out to 33, I do think he will stick around and be joined by another prop, the sixth prop. Anyway, Franz Malherbe, he is obviously going. I don't have to say much more. He's had a really good career as a player. He's going to have an even better career there as a coach, and as a veteran of 58 tests, well, experience just doesn't go on trees, and that is Nienaber's philosophy. It's the same for Vincent Cog, who is currently with Stade Francais after the collapse of Wasps. Cog was also a winner for 2019 and is a real veteran, so he's also going to book himself a place on the plane. Now Thomas du Toit, as we saw yesterday, the Sharks man has really been starved of minutes in the Nienaber era, but I'm not too worried about him at all. He's a hulking man at 1.9 meters and 136 kgs. Though he was red carded against England, he has been in the squad for a long time, having won the World Cup in 2019, so I do think that du Toit's place is safe. Much like Enyakani, he can cover both sides of the scrum, and with a squad number of 33, I do think his place does still remain safe. Now over to the locks, with Siya Kolisi almost guaranteed to miss, which is absolutely gutting from his ACL injury. I think Eben Etzebeth is going to be the captain. Kolisi's recovery period has been a bit of it's been a bit of a weird thing. Like, a lot of people are real optimistic about it, but I'm just gonna save people from getting disappointment, and I'm just going to say Etzebeth will be the captain in case Kolisi isn't there. I don't have to say much about Etzebeth on a playing front. This will be his third World Cup, and he is young enough to go to a fourth World Cup in 2027. He could well take the record of Alan Wynne-Jones for most cap player ever as well. Lou Diaga will almost definitely be his locking partner. This will also be Diaga's third World Cup. He's only played 65 tests compared to Etzebeth's over 100, but Diaga's size, man, 2.05 meters, 125 kgs, a hulking giant who has to be in there, as he's a perfect imitation of a giraffe, as many commentators have said. Franco Mostert as the lock and 6 cover off the bench, well, 7 in South Africa's case. Give that the green light any day. The 32-year-old has been a beast for Honda Heat. He's been a beast on the international stage, and a bench spot for this man is always going to be there. The thing is with lock though, JJ van der Mescht, who seems to be the up-and-coming guy, hasn't really got a look in under Nienaber. So with Marvin Orie, the only real guy that's got minutes aside from those three at lock, I do think he's probably going to go. He's 30 years old with 11 tests, so though he hasn't played many tests, he is an experienced player, with RG Snyman just unable to string minutes together at all. He's played, what, 5 tests in the last 3, not 5 tests, sorry, 5 games in the last 3 years. I do think Orie will go over Snyman. Now over to the loose forwards, I think they're going to continue with the third lock in the number 7 jersey, so Pieter-Steph du Toit returning. Well, of course that'll happen. Du Toit is a veteran of 66 tests at 30 years old. He was World Player of the Year in 2019. Nienaber absolutely loves him there rather. He's a turnover winning machine. He just makes that line out so much more dynamic, and his carrying game, well, of course that is always there. Elrig Lowe, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly, please tell me in the comments. He is a freak. He's played 3 tests so far, not a lot, but whenever he stood onto the international stage, well, he looks the goods. At just 23 years old, he is definitely going to have a long career, and as there aren't too many proper backup 7s for the Springboks, maybe there's going to be a surprise with Lowe going on the plane, as Mostert's the other guy that's been wearing 7 a fair bit. Look at the size of this man, honestly, he has to go. A pretty obvious pick for the number 6 jersey open side over in South Africa is Kwagga Smith. Should Kolisi not make it to the World Cup, well then he's definitely going to start in the number 6 jersey. The guy's had a really good World Cup cycle. He's now got 31 tests at 29 years old, and he's done a great job on both attack and defence, so I'm all in favour of that. Deon Fourie, who does prefer to play hooker at club level though, has played all of his minutes exclusively as a loose forward, so that's going to make him a really good value off the bench. Perhaps he could wear jersey 16 if Mbanambi or Marks are injured over Dweeba, but Dweeba will obviously play at the pool stages. Fourie is 36 years old, so is the oldest player in the squad with just 4 tests. It is a bit of an odd phenomenon, but he just has that utility value that Jacques Nienaber seems to really love. If Smith's injured, well then I think Fourie will start at 6, and if Kolisi is injured, I think Marcel Coetzee may have a chance at coming back after having a few minutes under his belt in the Nienaber era. Coetzee has been a bit of an enigma, I guess, at test level, but he has played minutes under Nienaber, 31 tests at 31 years old, and has the real size to make a huge difference off the bench at 1.93 meters and 117 kgs. He's got a massive frame, so could do some real damage in the pull stages. Over to number 8. Duane Vermeulen, his body is stuffed, so Jasper Wiese has overtaken him on the depth chart as the first choice number 8, and I think Wiese will retain that role for the World Cup. He's 27 years old, he's really in his prime, he's played real well for Leicester Tigers, and he's a very, very frightening ball carrier for opponents to come up against. Waiting in the wings though will be Evan Roos, the 23-year-old in for his first World Cup. Wiese is holding the number 8 jersey for now, but give Evan Roos a few years, he is going to be an absolute legend for the Springboks. It's crazy hard to think the guy's the same age as me. He's just an absolute titan with ball in hand. He's looked really good in all 3 tests he's played, and I can see him getting a decent share of minutes this year with Vermeulen's body just no longer letting him keep up with the pace of test rugby. Anyway guys, now that we've gone through the forwards, we are going to go into the backs after the ad break. As I do think the Springboks will take a few more loose forwards than most teams are, there is going to be a bit more of a small back line, but in halfback, they've really handled the share of minutes absolutely perfectly, and so this will keep the 31-year-old Faf de Klerk fit. I don't have to say much more about this, guys, because if he's on your team, you love him. If he's playing against you, he's an absolute pest, one of the true icons of South African rugby. Jaden Hendrickse, who I prefer a lot more, is quite obviously going to be his backup. Hendrickse has really lit the world up as of late and worn that number 9 jersey with a lot of pride for the Springboks. He's played just 12 tests, but he feels like he's been around forever already with a dynamic feel of play. Corbus Reinach though, well, maybe if de Klerk goes down for a big game, Reinach could start. He's done it a few times in this World Cup cycle. Much like his father, Jaco Reinach, who's a former Springbok, this man plays with his absolute heart and soul for this jersey, and he will give everything 100% if he's required to play in the game. Now, moving over to 10, Handré Pollard, who will be at his 3rd World Cup. He will be making a massive difference when he comes back from injury. He's had a rich vein of Leicester Tigers, and well, with that rich vein of form I was talking about, Kolisi at 8, Pollard at 10, that will be a really good combination to see, especially with de Klerk having played with Pollard internationally for so long. At just 29 years old, he could well last to 2027 as well, and he's definitely going to play 100 tests. The guy's got some beef, so we can ride the hits too. Mani Lebok, though, I think may have just played his way into the team with form. Elton Yanchis has had a few off-field issues and hasn't really played well as of late, so Lebok with just 3 tests, I do believe he could make it into this team. He just needs a few more minutes in the Rugby Championship this year to even things out, get the experience, but form-wise he's doing really well right now, so I think he'll play a few games in the pool stages. The fact that Damian Willemse, though, is the second choice for both 10 and 15 will mean the Springboks are only going to take 115, with Willemse filling that third spot as the 10. He will definitely be jersey number 23 for the knockout stages. Wow, Damian Willemse has really just come of age. He's so experienced for a young man, 27 tests already. Though there's not a lot of youth in this team, the youth in this team stands out so much and they're in key decision-making positions, so that is something I will give the hats off to. Now over to the midfield, Damien Dialendi, who I discussed in depth yesterday. He's quite obviously going to be going after 70 test caps. He's just got a real good defensive no in this game, and you just cannot trade in experienced players who know how to tackle. Lucanio, he's quite obviously going to be coming back from injury as well. He will be the other candidate for captain should Kolisi be out. Regardless of whether it's Etzebeth or either way, both of them are guaranteed to start because they are absolutely incredible once-in-a-generation talents. Is also a decent jackler over the ball, so I'm giving him the green light at 13 any day. Jesse Creel, who I don't think's particularly playing well though, is getting the faith from Ninaba over and over, so I think he can retain a spot on the team, especially with the fact that he's played 59 tests and can cover number 14 and 15 as well. Makazole Mapimpi though, he has defied all the odds. He is still playing really well to this day, so I think he can indeed make the team. In my prediction from last year, I said Mark Talia might be on the radar, but he's since made his All Blacks debut, so Mapimpi, he will stick around till the end of the World Cup. I truly believe that. Cheslin Colby as well, you're never going to leave this guy out. You cannot do that. He can play 10, 11, 14 and 15, and he's got a great step still at 29 years old. You just cannot trade in raw talent. Kurtley Aronza, a very similar player to Colby, has scored 7 tries from 7 tests for the Springboks too, so the 26-year-old does have a very decent chance, I believe. So with Colby, Aronza, and of course Mapimpi covering the wings, who's going to be the fullback? Well, with Damien Willemse covering 10 and 15 from the bench, it's obviously going to be Willie Leroux, the trooper who just shouts the orders all day long. He's had an incredible career with 83 tests to his name, and hanging the boots up with a third World Cup at 33 years old will be absolutely excellent there, rather, for a true legend of Springbok rugby. Aside from Percy Montgomery, I can't really think of a more loyal servant from 15 to this cause. Willie Leroux, what a player he has been throughout this career of his. Now guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Just make sure you can support me over on Patreon and give me some money in the PayPal tip jar if you are able to afford it. It really just helps me keep this channel going, as it is my full-time job. I've got a pretty popular Instagram page and I'm on Twitter as well, so you can support me there as well as over here on YouTube. Once again guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Tell me your squad in the comments. I'm going to read them as much as I can, and yeah, once more time, cheers for watching guys. Thank you from Max.